you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the quiet or off mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, preliminary matters on the AM docket. Case number 5, Club 347 North Calvert Street, a Class BD7 license, a request for hardship extension. That matter has been postponed. Number 6 on the AM docket, Diamond Gym Inc., trading as Diamond Lounge, 415 East Baltimore Street, Class BD7, a request for hardship extension, postponed. Number 7 on the AM docket, JBE Corporation, trading as Parkville Bowling Lanes, 7603 through 09 Harford Road, a Class D beer and wine license, request for hardship extension, postponed. Call the very first case on the AM docket. Claudia Levitas and Barbara Barr, HOA, Maryland.
Excuse me, Mr. Page, you want to call the one where we have the have to continue it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Apologize. Number 3 on the AM docket, Demetris Spiliadis, Pauline Spiliadis, and Cerritos Spiliadis, Olive Grove Catering, Inc., trading as Olive Inn at the Black Olive, 803 South Caroline Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for hardship extension. All parties, please come forward.
Good morning. Before we begin, I just want to say we were a little late because we were told that people are having a difficulty getting into the building this morning downstairs, so we wanted to postpone and let everybody get a chance to get into the room. Councilor, you want to identify yourself, please?
Of course, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Adam Baker with Whiteford Taylor and Preston with offices here in Baltimore at 7 St. Paul Street on behalf of the property owner.
Good morning. So we've had preliminary discussions. Because that is my law firm, it puts me in a position where I really shouldn't be hearing this, and one of the other commissioners has a problem in terms of a conflict as well, leaving us with only one commissioner to hear the case, but that will not be the case on June 15th, so I think we're going to reset it for then, and there will be at least 2 commissioners available to hear.
Very good. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case. HOA, Maryland Restaurant Holder, LLC, trading as Hooters, 301 Light Street, Suite 1445, first floor. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer location of the Class B beer, wine, and liquor license presently located at 301 Light Street, second floor, to 301 Light Street, Suite 1445, on the first floor with continuation of outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Council, identify yourself, please.
Thank you. Leanne Schreckengoss with Royston, Muller, McLean, and Reed here on behalf of the applicants.
Good morning. Would they raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Could you please each state your name and address for the record?
Claudia Levitas, 2496 Green Glade Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30345.
Kyle Hopkins, 307 Pintail Drive, Havre Grace, Maryland, 21078.
Ms., is it Schreckengross?
Correct.
On my conflict check, both the name Barbara Barr and the name Hooter showed up. And I don't know whether it was adverse to us or not, but is there any problem with me hearing
None
the case?
whatsoever.
Okay. Okay, you want to tell us about the transfer then?
Certainly. As indicated in the read-in, the Hooter restaurant is moving from the second floor, which has been there since 1990. It's in desperate need of updates. It's almost 27 years. They have secured space on the first floor in the same building, again with an outdoor patio. It's the same operation, the same licensees, just a different floor plan, which you have in your file, and an updated menu, which I would like to present to you for the file.
Thank you.
Other than that, the operation is staying the same. Kyle here is one of the managers and can talk to the board about any of the operational questions that the board may have, but I can tell you that there are 52 front of house employees. 47 of them are alcohol awareness trained. It is their policy that within 30 days of hiring, everybody in front of house has to be alcohol awareness certified through the Serve Safe program. The operation will be moving from the upstairs to downstairs, hopefully by the end of August. This was approved once before by the prior board, but unfortunately, the landlord ran into permitting problems, which delayed the turnover. So we're just waiting for the final turnover turnkey, hope to be open by the end of August. And it'll be a 2-week closure from moving upstairs to downstairs.
What's going on at that Light Street Pavilion? I don't go in there much anymore. Is it sort of revitalizing at this point?
Very
They've
much.
remodeled it completely.
And is it going to be fully occupied? Do you know?
Do you know?
I know that supposedly there was somebody to take over our old location. With the delays, I don't know the status on that.
I do know that a couple of the tenants did fall through because of the permitting delays. I have not spoken with the landlord recently to know if they do have a current tenant lined up for that space at this point in time, but there were several parties that were interested.
Okay, and your folks have had this license since 1990?
That is correct.
Okay, any problems with our board?
There were 2 violations in the past, once in 2005 and once in 2009 for compliance check failures, but other than that, the 27-year history has been clean.
Okay, do the commissioners have questions?
Is that going to be a permanent move?
Yes.
They'll stay on the first floor? And I can't tell from the diagram where on the first floor. Is it going to be the
It's
side
in the back facing Light Street.
Facing Light Street, okay.
Sort of directly under where they are now, or?
It's under and down closer towards the Pratt Street intersection.
Commissioner Greenfield, do you have any questions?
So this would also, I do recall you being here a few months back. I don't exactly remember.
Yeah, about a year ago, I guess.
Oh, God, time flies.
Yes, it does.
And that didn't, obviously, that you had to withdraw that after our approval.
That is
I
correct.
assume that this transfer of ownership would also include not just live entertainment, but outdoor seating as well?
We are doing away with live entertainment altogether.
Okay,
So it's just outdoor seating.
okay. So that's different than, I believe, from October.
I think the original application that was filed in 2016 did ask for live entertainment, but we withdrew that request at the hearing before the board at that point in time.
Thank you.
So this isn't directly related to what you're asking for today, but I'm recalling there was some litigation regarding Hooters with respect to employees and wages. Was it Hooters? There was some issue with
In Maryland?
at the Inner Harbor location?
Not regarding wages.
And there was something with some disease or something?
Oh, there was when I started in 2000, right at the end of 2011, there was someone who had the manager had, I want to say like hepatitis or something.
Yeah, I was
maybe?
thinking that, but
Something like that, yeah.
but all of that obviously is resolved. That's
Right, I think we had a
way back.
workers' comp matter
It was
out of
I
that.
know it was a workers' comp
Yes,
matter.
That's right.
So all of that's resolved and
Yes.
no issues. Okay, I'm sorry. It comes and I just want to ask and make sure that all of that's in
No,
the
that's-
history. Okay, thanks.
Anything further? Do you have anything else?
I do not.
The exhibit will be received, and on the basis of the testimony we received, the information contained in the application, the proffers from council, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I approve.
I concur.
Thank you.
Good luck with the new
Thank you all
place.
very much.
For the record, exhibit number 1, licensees exhibit an updated menu.
2 seconds to catch up.
E. Michelle Jackson and Gloria Tyler, SMERTTZ LLC, trading as Blair's on Hudson, 2822 Hudson Street. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the record, Gary Maslin, on behalf of Michelle Jackson. This is basically a family transfer.
Before you do that, can I ask Ms. Jackson to raise her right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good morning, thanks.
Mr. Chairman, this is basically a family transfer. The stock of Smurs LLC was formerly held by Ms. Jackson's daughter-in-law. Unfortunately, there was a slight divide in the family, and it's resulted in the daughter-in-law transferring to her mother-in-law the 100% interest in this location. The daughter-in-law is going on to pursue other matters.
And has Ms. Jackson worked in this?
Oh, she's been part of the restaurant business for
Almost 11 years.
almost
We bought
11
it in
years. She
October.
is TAM certified. We have a letter here. She attended a meeting with the Canton Community Association, the zoning board, and they gave her a letter in basically full support of her plans. It's her goal ultimately. She's financed this operation out of her own money. She's loaned money in acquiring this building where the business is located. And there's a business down the street, Jack's Bistro, which is currently owned by her son. It's her son's intent to sell that business and actually relocate the Jack's Bistro and join his mother ultimately at this location. Until that happens, the mother's going to operate one and he'll operate the other, and then they'll join
And
forces.
how big an operation is it? How many people work there?
I just won my son right now
What's his son's
at
down?
a new place, but he's full-time chef over at the Blair Hospitality.
Okay. Commissioners?
And who is Gloria Tyler?
She's right here. She's she's been a prior licensee before. I had her removed from another license. She's the qualifying city resident for this license.
And is she going to be involved in the operation?
No, she is, as you can see, she's recently become just disabled. She has some days, she has good days, she can get around, and some days, unfortunately, just one of the days she needs her walker to get around. But she's hopefully going to recover, and she'll.
She's involved just to meet the residency
That
requirement?
basically, yes.
I mean, if we're honest, that's all.
Yes,
all it
that's
is?
that's what it is.
Which I can tell you I'm not in favor of that, but that's what the law allows.
Yeah, well, she has been a prior licensee with that incident for many, many years on another license.
Where was she a prior licensee?
1148 North Avenue, she was a licensee. She's come off of that license.
Okay, she's not on it now?
No. It's been transferred and someone else is on that license.
Okay.
But ultimately, this business will be, community's looking forward to her son being able to sell his other business and rejoin this one. Unfortunately, the restaurant business in Canton is gone really down. Langerman's, I understand, is closing. The Crab House across the street, they've closed up, and I don't know. The economy is really hurting. This is a family-owned business, and basically family working there to try and survive in the strange economic times that we've been experiencing.
And we'll change the menu and everything. And we want it to be a neighborhood place, like Jack's is now, but people do come from the county and Washington now to see it.
Okay.
And I've been handling the books, lawyers, landlord, whatever.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Commissioner
A
Greenfield?
few questions. Mr. Maslin, can you explain, when did Blair's close? I just want to confirm that it's not
It
closed.
did not close.
No, it's not closed.
It's still
It's been-
actively on, we're,
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
'cause,
Blair's
maybe I
Hospitality,
misread.
yes, no,
Because,
not yet.
so our inspection report says it was closed at time of inspection. I assume that means that it just wasn't open when they went to inspect it? Is that accurate?
Yes, they have, they're,
okay, now, okay, right, Blair, excuse me, I'm thinking about Blair
Yeah, not
Hospitality,
Jack's.
which is Jack's, excuse me. Yes, we open once a month, Your Honor, while we finish updating the place, and that was understood that we could do that and still, sell some beers and everything until we get it
there's an
fully.
inspection report we had when they
fully
came in
remodeled.
January.
So the point is, the license is still alive?
Yes,
Yes,
I've been
yeah.
paying
Under-
taxes, I have a copy of that
No,
too.
we made certain of that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, okay, thank you.
So it is still alive. And can you just explain, being a patron of Jack's myself, can you tell me, when you say that Jack's is going to, because this is of concern for me,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Is going to consolidate in some way with Blair's? What does that mean?
Well, the intent is Jack's building was sold, and the landlord is they're having difficulty with negotiation with the landlord.
Okay,
So they're going to ultimately move up the street and hopefully sell the license at Jack's and possibly even transfer the Jack's license, which is a 7-day license, to this location.
Okay.
And then ultimately sell this license.
We wanted our own place. I mean, right now we're renting, and we had this opportunity open to buy a place.
Buy the-
And, right,
buy the
and our
property
lease
as
is
well.
up the end of the year.
Okay, and the last comment I would make, and I assume this is an exhibit, Mr.
Yes,
Maslin?
well, it's part of your file.
Yeah, okay. And the last comment, just a comment, would be, I'd encourage you and your son to keep that barbecue Korean pancake on the menu.
Oh,
I
I
was in
know, I
there
love
Friday
that.
night or Saturday night, and it wasn't on the menu. That's all I.
You know, I agree with you 100%. I made the same.
Your Honor, I'm always disappointed when something disappears, and I'm like, oh, I wish you had warned me.
Thank you.
Is there anything further?
No.
Okay. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the exhibits we've received this morning, the testimony of Ms. Jackson, and proffers from counsel, I vote to approve the transfer.
Okay, and I would just add, according to our documents, Ms. Tyler owns 0.5%, has a 0.5% interest, and that plus what sounds to be a shout from the crowd, that what you're looking for will be on the menu, I vote to approve.
Thank you.
I do know that Jack's has run a very good business, and I concur with my colleagues. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Pleasure
Good
meeting
luck.
you. Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. It's good to see you, Mr. Maslin.
Yes.
The last
Nice
time
to
you
be on
were,
this side of the earth, I tell
Yeah.
you. It's touch and go.
Their exhibits need to be read.
oh, I apologize. Oh.
Okay, just calling the exhibits for the record. Licensee exhibit number 1, letter of support from the Canton Community Association. Licensee exhibit number 2, alcohol awareness certification of Estella Jackson. And licensee exhibit number 3, copy of a liquor board inspection report.
Right. So we were all concerned when you didn't appear before us.
You know, I made a heroic effort to get here. I checked myself out of the hospital. I made them disconnect me. I wanted to get here on time. So I'm walking out of the hospital, and when I get to the lobby, I said to my daughter, you know, I feel really dizzy. And so I sat down. She calls my doctor. She says, take him back. So she gets a wheelchair, wheels me right back.
Good.
Thank God I wasn't discharged out of their system. So they put me right back in my room,
Good.
kept me 2 more days.
Good to see you.
Goodness, yeah.
Stay
glad
well.
you're-
Yeah, well, it's.
You should listen to your daughter more.
Listen to your body.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
body starts telling you something. Don't ignore it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Well, glad you're
All
better.
right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Matthew Smith and David Smith, Tagliata Elk Room LLC, trading as Tagliata, 1012 Fleet Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, requesting to reopen after being closed for 3 consecutive months, or requesting a 180-day hardship extension. Please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Anastasia Nardangeli on behalf of the applicants.
Excuse me, counsel, the name David Smith popped up on my conflicts thing. Do you have any objection to me hearing this matter?
No, and I can speak on his behalf that he doesn't
Okay,
either.
thanks.
So David and Matthew are the individuals named on the license. The restaurant that had been operating at that location was called Fleet Street Kitchen. Fleet Street Kitchen closed down on January 4th. It was formerly managed by Bagby Restaurant Group. David, who is the majority owner of the restaurant, decided that he was going to go with a different restaurant management group and try something else that was more profitable because Fleet Street Kitchen wasn't very profitable. So he engaged Alex Smith, who runs Uzo Bay and Lock Bar and also Azumi over in Harbor East, to come in with a group and come up with a concept that might work better in the location. So that is why they closed. Alex has come up with a concept that he has named Tagliata. He also bought into the company that owns the restaurant, so he is now a partial owner. So David, Alex, and Matthew are all the owners of the restaurant. And they anticipate opening up Tagliata, which will be a casual Italian restaurant in the location that was formerly used as Fleet Street Kitchen sometime at the end of June, possibly first week in July. And July 3rd is the date that is exactly 180 days after the date on which the restaurant closed. So that's why I asked for either a grant to reopen or a hardship extension, depending on the actual date that these guys decide to
Did you say
open.
June 3rd would be?
July 3rd.
July 3rd.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're right in that window of 180 days when they're going to reopen. Alex told me this morning that he's fairly certain that they're going to do it at the end of June. They're at least going to have a couple days on which they're open in June. So they probably will make it before the hardship.
But you want to be safe.
But I want to be safe. The other thing that I'd like to disclose is that there is currently an application pending for an expansion of this license. We'd like to expand the floor plan of the restaurant and also have requested outdoor seating and live entertainment. So we will be back before you guys, before they reopen at the end of June. So it's all going to happen really quickly at the end of June or very early July. So you guys will hear about the concept when we come back, but I wanted to preserve the license before we come back and do that hearing.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions?
No.
I do not.
Okay.
So on the basis of what you've told us this morning, as well as what you've enclosed in your May 3 letter, I would vote to grant the hardship extension.
I should have asked, and I think it's mixed in there. I apologize. The hardship extension is what? What is the hardship?
Well, the hardship is that the restaurant was not profitable. They closed down and they did a reconcept, a whole reconcept. So they've been working on the interior. They haven't done anything that constitutes build out so that they would need to apply for permits with the Baltimore City Permits Office. However, they've been doing some redesign. They've been redesigning the menu. They're bringing in new personnel. It's a new management team.
So it sounds like it's a financial hardship that they experienced. The restaurant wasn't doing well. They needed to
They needed to rebrand.
rebrand.
And come up with something that worked better for the location. The ultimate conclusion was that Fleet Street Kitchen was, the prices were a little too high, and the menu wasn't very accessible for the average Baltimore City diner.
Whatever
So,
that means.
that's what they decided. So we'll see. They're hoping that this Italian concept, which we will tell you more about when we come back for the extension, is larger portions, lower price point, and more accessible to the general public.
Right. Okay. All right, so that's, we're getting some good guidance here. It seems like the first question that we should consider both of these. The first question is whether you should be allowed to reopen after being closed for 90 days.
Correct.
And I think that the proffers that you've made so far address that, or I think would give us enough information to make a decision on that. And then the second action that we need to take is to vote on whether or not to grant the request for a hardship extension.
If they happen to not open before July 3rd.
And the thing about the hardship extension is it's there if you need it. If you don't need it, it's not like you're going to give us days back. I mean, so
Yes.
I think
Okay. And
with that
I would vote
clarification.
yes on both issues.
All right, so I vote to approve the request to reopen after being closed for 90 days. And I also vote to approve the request for a hardship extension.
Thank you.
And I too join Commissioner Moore to grant both the request for hardship and the request to reopen.
Thank you.
So we'll see you in about a month or so. Is Menachie still working at your firm?
Menachie is working
Would you
at
tell
our
him the
firm.
judge says hi?
I will. And Sasha, actually, I just saw her a couple months ago. So,
She has a child now, right?
2.
Oh, well.
She's living in New York City.
Mazel tov. Great. Thanks.
Great.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Off the record.
No exhibits?
No.
I believe that concludes our morning docket.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we resume at 1.
Yes.
Of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, there's several preliminary matters.
Yes, sir.
Before we go into the PM docket. Number 1 on the PM docket, Linden Bar and Liquors, Inc., trading as Linda Bar and Liquors, 904-08 West North Avenue, Class BD7. Here for violation of Rule 4.20CII. This matter has been postponed. Number 2 on the PM docket, Bacchus Bar and Liquors, Inc., trading as Bacchus Bar and Lounge, 1220 West North Avenue, Class BD7. Here for violation of Rule 4.20CII. That matter has been postponed. Number 4 on the PM docket, North Cafe, 3716 West Belvedere Avenue, Class BD7. Here for the same violation, Rule 4.20CII. Matter has been postponed. Number 6 on the PM docket, Whispers, 1807-11, Baker Street, Class BD7. Here for violation of Rule 4.20 small CII, Class BD7. That matter is postponed. All cases that are postponed will be scheduled and rescheduled. All interested parties will be notified as to the new date and time.
Thank you.
I call the case. Number 3 on the PM docket, Chris Cho and Cheng Cho, Song Cho Enterprises, Inc., trading as OK Tavern, 2301 East Biddle Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.20 small CII, Class BD7. Open and operating tavern at all times on March the 22nd, 2017. Please come forward and raise your right hands.
Are you the attorney?
Yes, sir.
You don't need to raise your hand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, counsel, will you identify yourself for the record, please? And please step up and speak into this.
My name is Josh Swanner, and here on behalf of OK Tavern, and I come from Pika and Associates.
And is this going to be an admission with explanation, or is it going to be a contested case?
It's an admission with explanation.
Okay, so your clients, is that Chris Cho and Chang Cho?
This is Mr. Chris Cho, and this is Ms. Rhonda Carter, who was present that evening.
Okay, okay. So the allegation is that on March 22nd, 2017, that there was an undercover investigation at the establishment. Detective Akinwande and Inspector Perez entered the establishment in an undercover capacity, attempted to gain access to the tavern portion of the premise. Ms. Rhonda Carter, who was the attendant, informed them both that the bar was not open in response to a request made by the detective for access to the tavern. They left the establishment, informed members of the vice unit and our inspection division of the violation, and then they entered the establishment and informed Ms. Carter of the violation. And those facts are accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell us what explanation you have for us?
Yes, well, I prepared Ms. Carter to testify if you'd like to hear from her, but in essence,
You can, either way you want to do it.
Okay, here, Ms. Carter, ask you some questions. Good afternoon, Ms. Carter.
Good afternoon.
Could you give your full name for the board?
Rhonda Carter,
And where do you work?
OK Tavern at 2301 East Biddle Street,
And what is your responsibilities at OK Tavern?
manager/cashier,
And how long have you worked at OK Tavern?
5 years.
Now, did you work on March 22nd, 2017?
Yes.
What happened in the morning of March 22nd?
That morning, 2 customers had came into the store. They were kind of fishy looking, so I had called my girlfriend, and she had come over. And
Did they go to the bar area?
yes,
So what did you notice about them being fishy?
when they first came in, I asked them what they wanted to drink. They were like, "Can we wait till we warm up?" Because it was cold that day. So I was like, "Sure, that's fine." I actually even turned on a space heater for them, and they sat there for a little while. She asked me about a drink, but never said that she wanted it. So I said, "Let me know when you're ready." She said, "Okay." Well, while they were sitting there, she actually pulled everything out of her pocketbook, all her medicine and everything, and they were just sitting there. So eventually my girlfriend came.
And so what happened next after your friend came?
My friend came in, she looked at them, she spoke to me. One of the customers got offended and was like, "I don't appreciate you looking at me like that. You know, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover." And then they had some words.
So what did you say as a result of this?
I was trying to diffuse the situation, so I said, everybody just calm down and let's just have some drinks. Well, the customer that I was talking to ended up going to the bathroom. She was in there a little bit too long, so my girlfriend asked her girlfriend to go check on her. She did. She came back out upset, like, "Why are you coming and checking on me?"
So what happened next?
They argued a little bit, and then I was like, "You know what? Just forget about it. Everybody just leave. Everybody just leave." And so when I said that, the woman that I was actually arguing with charged me, and my girlfriend jumped in between us, and then there was a little altercation. And then eventually, I just made everybody leave.
And what time of day was that?
8, 9 o'clock in the morning?
People often come in there at 9 o'clock in the morning to drink?
No.
Okay, now, what did you find after these patrons left?
After she left, I went back. I was going towards the bathroom to check the bathroom to see if she was doing anything. I found what they call a crack pipe by our side door. And as I was going back where she was sitting at the bar, there was an empty crack vial. And then when I actually went in the bathroom, she had been smoking in the bathroom. So there were cigarette ashes and all in the bathroom.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Point of housekeeping real fast. I do have exhibits of pictures of what was left behind, and I apologize for not turning them in before the hearing. I do have 5 copies if you guys, the board.
Want to authenticate them and then?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Apologize. Now, Ms. Carter, I have what's marked as Exhibit A, B, and C. Can you take a look at this, please? No, just this first page is fine.
Yes.
Do you recognize the scene in the photograph?
Yes.
What is the scene in the photograph?
This is behind the bar stool underneath the bar stool that she was sitting at, the vial that I found.
Okay, and does Exhibit A fairly and accurately show the bar stool as it appeared in the morning of March 22nd, 2017?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Carter. I'll submit this into evidence. Sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It'll be received.
Thank you. Ms. Carter, I'm going to show you what's marked as Exhibit B. Please take a look at it. Do you recognize the scene in this photograph?
Yes, this is by our side door, and this is the vial that I found.
Ms. Carter, does Exhibit B fairly and accurately show the scene by the side door on the morning of March 22nd, 2017?
Yes.
May I
You may.
enter this in evidence? Thank you, sir.
It'll be received.
Finally, Ms. Carter, I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit C. And ask you to examine it. And do you recognize the scene in the photograph?
Yes, this is the restroom.
And Ms. Carter, does Exhibit C fairly and accurately show the restroom as it appeared the morning of March 22nd, 2017?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Carter.
That will be received as well. Did you take these photos?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Carter, how did that whole situation in the morning make you feel?
Uneasy,
Easy.
afraid.
Now, was anyone else working at the bar that day?
Not that, no.
Okay. Did any other patrons come during the afternoon?
No, not till later on that evening.
Who came later on in the evening?
The officers.
The officers. Did anyone come prior to that?
There was a friend of mine there, but he had just came in right before the officers came in.
Okay, so it was a friend. What else occurred that day?
There was a shooting earlier that day, around 7, 8 o'clock,
And where did the shooting occur?
right behind our building.
Now, Ms. Carter, what happened when the two patrons or officers came later in the evening?
Oh, they came, they asked if the bar was open, and I told them no. So they walked to the front and purchased a package.
Now, why did you not let them into the bar?
I just felt uneasy, just nervous, just because of what happened that morning, and then later on that evening, I just was feeling really uneasy and afraid, so. And I was there, the only one there that evening. Usually it's 2 people, but the evening worker was not there.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
Well, I have a couple of questions. So this is a tavern, right?
Yes,
And so, and you say there's also packaged goods?
yes,
Okay. Did you have customers for the packaged goods throughout that day?
yes,
Okay. But not many customers for the tavern?
no.
Is that fairly standard?
Yeah,
Okay. And do you have the discretion to decide when the tavern's open and closed?
no,
You don't?
no. What do you mean, like, do I have the
Do
discretion?
you have the authority to say it's open or closed as the manager?
I know
Did-
it's not supposed to be closed,
Okay.
but it was later in the evening, it was like 10 o'clock, I think.
What
10
time do you close up?
2.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners have questions?
What do you mean you know it's not supposed to be closed?
That I know that during 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., if we're open, the tavern also has to be open.
Okay, well, how often do you open the tavern?
It's always open. Everybody's always welcome to come, just nobody really comes.
And where is the tavern in connection with the packaged goods side of the business?
So as soon as you come in the front door is the packaged goods, the 2 windows, and then you go walk past there and the doors in the middle.
Okay, and do you have to be buzzed in?
Yes.
And you're the one that would do that?
Yes.
Is there anyone else that works here other than you?
Yes.
And
So
what are your hours?
mine is 6 to 4. But that night I was filling in for the man who works in the evening.
So the day in question, you began at 6 a.m.,
Yes.
Is that right?
So I worked a double.
and then you worked until 2 a.m.?
Yes.
All right, and during that stretch, how many people asked to come in and sit at the bar?
Nobody except that morning and then the officers in that
Okay,
evening.
and on an average day, how many people want to come in and sit at the bar?
Maybe 1.
Okay. Is it fair to say most, out of a 7, because you're open 7 days a week, right? So in a 7-day week, if you're seating maybe 2 people during that whole week, that's about average?
Yep.
Okay, so you hardly ever
Yeah.
have anybody sitting in there? Okay. And as a routine matter, you keep the door locked?
Right.
And for safety. And then, have you ever sort of looked out and somebody wanted to come into the bar and you thought, looks a little
I
like
try
I'm
not
I'm not feeling comfortable?
I'm a really nice person, so
It's obvious.
I usually don't look at a person and be like, oh, well, I don't want them to come in here.
But has that ever happened?
Never think I
Okay.
have.
Okay. So on the day in question, you had an incident in the morning. Something was happening outside of the business that upset you. There was a shooting. So by the time the detectives came,
It was
you were kind of already a little unstitched and just felt like enough of this.
Yes.
But you knew you weren't supposed to do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And who from these gentlemen came in after the detective and Inspector Perez?
I think all 3
You
of
did,
them.
you did, okay. And was this young lady cooperative?
Very much.
Okay.
Very cooperative, very nice.
Okay. Had you been in that establishment before?
I've gone to that establishment many times.
Usually the same situation?
Pretty much same situation. I think it's actually my first time seeing her because I usually deal with the licensee who's usually there at night.
Okay. But you've never charged them before?
Say again?
You've never charged them before?
I would have to go, I can't recall.
I don't think we have any record of it. Okay. All right, Commissioner, I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Carter, did you let the owner know that morning what occurred?
Yes.
Okay, and what was his response, or maybe he can testify to that?
Oh, well, I actually told his mom, his stepmom, and then she told him, but she was kind of furious.
furious at whom?
At me.
Okay. Okay. What did they tell you to do? Did they suggest, given what happened that morning, the shooting as well, was there any?
She didn't know about the shooting, so before I had told her about the incident that happened the night, when the officers came that night. I didn't tell her till then.
Okay. And then, I do know, our sheet says there's no history of violations, although I do see that there have been violations by this owner in the past. I just want to clarify this. What, the confusion on my part.
When they do the check, in preparing the docket, it's a 5-year look back, and for the licensee history. So that's why it says no violations.
But these say may have, these are all the current ones that are on here?
Is that, if you look.
The 5/17/2017 ones?
That's the one that's been charged. Which one? I'm sorry.
That's
Pardon me.
today's.
It says that the violation occurred January 17, 2008, and I don't know why, I don't know what that May 17, 2017 is.
So we've been updating our past records in the database when we're going through these files, and that's why you see the entries on May 17th, 2017 for backdated matters
These are
in
8,
2010.
9, Okay,
So we have,
they're 7 years old, okay.
yes,
I'm sorry. It was confusing with the dates in the first column there. Okay.
understood.
I have nothing further.
Anything further?
So this license transferred to, looks like Mr. Cho, March 21, 1997, and he's still on the license, correct? So the earlier violations from 2008 would apply to Mr. Cho. And there's one in 2009, one in 2010. I'm not aware of an agency policy that says we only look back 5 years. I don't know where that idea came from. I certainly don't embrace it. I mean, I prefer to look at everything in the history of a license, because that tells the story. And it's a different story when you look at all of the violations, even though some of them are aged, but they're all less than 10 years old. So it's a fact that needs to be made clear on this record.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman, I think given what Commissioner Moore said, there would be, and based upon the transfer date, the current ownership, if I'm reading this right, it was transferred in July of 2009, in which case there would be two of the violations, both sale of minors, one August 20th of 2009 and the other January 21st of 2010, that would apply to this licensee.
Well, so this licensee, Mr. Chris Cho, has been a licensee at this location since March 21, 1997.
Correct, yes.
Is that accurate? Yes, can you come on up? So you acquired the license March 1997, yes?
Yes.
And so the violations that we've been talking about from 2008, you were on the license at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And then it looks like perhaps you brought your mother in or some other person after 1997, is that right?
Not quite. My father passed away 7 years ago now? 6, 7? Now, I'm selling the business to my stepmother,
I see.
And right now, we're in that process right now.
Okay. Okay, so who is Cheng Cho? Was that your father?
No, that's my brother.
That's your brother? Okay. And he's not here, but he's been on the license as long as you have, is that right?
No.
No.
The
No.
father was on the line.
The father was. Okay. All right, well, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. So there was one prior instance where you were charged with not operating a tavern, but that was dismissed, and that was back in '08. And the others are for sales to minors and having an employee who's a minor.
Employed?
Back in '08, you were charged with a violation of Article 2B, Section 12302, employment of a minor. It looks like you were fined $2,250, if our records are accurate.
I wouldn't happen to have the name of that one.
I don't know. But in any event, so there is some history of violations. They just go back a ways. Okay. So on the basis of the admission and the testimony by Ms. Carter and the other documents that are contained in the charging documents, I would find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, double I, on March 22, 2017. Do the commissioners agree with that?
I do.
I do.
Okay. As far as the imposition of a sanction, there have been pretty hefty sanctions imposed in the past. I would impose a fine of $1,000, and I'd give you 30 days to pay it.
Defer to Commissioner Greenfield.
I concur with the chairman. I do appreciate the fact that, Ms. Carter, you were cooperative, and I think that, in my opinion, helps reduce kind of any additional fine. And given the external circumstances, which we can't always control, I certainly recognize, based upon the evidence, that that is something you were sensitive to. But as long as you understand going forward that sets to remain open, and perhaps it's a staffing issue, I don't know.
So I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Okay? I think that the fine should be higher. I think that the rule that allows you to be open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. because you're a tavern means that you're a tavern all the time. And I can think of no circumstances, or certainly not the circumstances that were told to us this afternoon, that justifies closing and not allowing admission or entry. You get great, you the owner, and I need you to, I hope that you're hearing me, Mr. Cho, you get great benefit by having this particular type of license. You get the opportunity to make far more money than other licensees who don't have a tavern license. They're really rare, they're really special. We don't give those out anymore for good reason, but you have one, and you're obviously you're allowed to use it, but you have to use it right. And we all, I think, come to this position with things that bother us more than other things. Some it's underage drinking, some it's illicit sales. For me, it's this having this type of license and not using it as the law requires you to use, because you get huge benefit from this. You get a huge business advantage, but then you get to do and act any way you want. I just don't agree with it. I really don't. But the other two commissioners have made a decision. They've imposed a fine of $1,000. Whatever I say, it's not going to carry for the day. But if it were up to me, I would impose a much higher fine, because I think it's warranted. So, let me just say, I would impose a fine of $5,000, and I would close for 1 day. But they prevail.
Okay. So thank you. And so the fine's $1,000. You have 30 days to pay it. And understand that you've got to remain open while you're in business, and don't come back or you'll do worse. Okay? Okay. You heard the warning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any exhibits on?
There are
Great.
exhibits.
Licensee Exhibit A, pictures of drug paraphernalia. Licensee Exhibit B, pictures of drug paraphernalia. And licensee Exhibit C, pictures of cigarette in bathroom.
Albert Bisay, Tebe Gebra, and Hepton Waldemariam, UEL Inc., trading as Knights Liquors, 5139-41 Park Heights Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small I, Class BD7 licenses. Open and operating tavern at all times on March the 23rd, 2017. Please come forward.
Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Sir, what is your name?
Tom Waldemariam.
You're Mr. Waldemarian? Okay. And you are one of the licensees, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you're charged with a violation of Rule 4.20 CII on March 23, 2017, when Detective Akinwande and Inspector Perez entered the establishment and wanted to be served at the tavern, and you told them the bar was closing soon. Do you admit that that happened or deny it?
Yes.
You admit? Okay. Do you want to explain to the board why you didn't allow them to be served?
Because they acting weird. The another guy got hood. You don't see me. He give me bar.
Wait a minute, slow down and come up to the microphone, okay? He was too weird.
There are two people, and then they ask a stranger, you know. They ask me.
You didn't recognize them. Is that what you
I
said?
don't recognize him. But the other, he got a phone.
Uh-huh.
The other guy got hood. He don't look at me, but he look at me. He give me bar. I was scared, you know. First time here.
They frightened you.
Yeah, I was scared, you know. I don't look them, you know. I'm scared. That's what I do.
So that was the reason you said you were, and this was at 12:15 a.m.
That's correct.
What time do you close?
2 o'clock.
2?
1:30 anyway.
Okay. Okay. Did you go in afterwards?
I went in afterwards.
Okay. Did you speak with Mr. Waldemariam?
I spoke with,
You did, Mr. Fossler? Okay. Can you tell us, what did he tell you at the time?
First of all, I have to testify that neither Perez nor Detective Akinwande was wearing a hood that night. That's not true.
Okay.
Second of all, he told me that he said that just that the bar was closed. And that we observed from the outside, we observed patrons purchasing packaged goods. And then when, I don't know specifically what Perez or Detective Akinwande, I can't testify to what they said, but that they entered the establishment. They informed, in this joint operation, they informed Detective Greenhill that they were denied access to the bar. And at that point, we explained the issue of the violation to this gentleman, and he denied them access to the bar, and that's simple as that.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the Chief Inspector?
No.
Okay.
But he got, not hood over here, hood in the head. That's what I said.
Well, let me ask the detective. Can you shed any light on this, detective?
Detective Akinwande speaking. On that night, I entered the bar at approximately 12:10 a.m. It was pretty simple. Walked up to the clerk, or who believed the clerk was, and asked if I could use the bar area. He let me know that the bar was closing soon, so he wouldn't allow us to gain access to it. At no time did I feel like he was nervous or in fear of anything. I just believe that that's not something that they usually do, so it was a weird question for him, and he wanted to find a way to deny me by saying the bar was closed, or closing soon rather. So I exited the location, notified Detective Greenhill, and we went on to the next location.
Sir, do you have any questions for the detective?
No, he was looking for him.
Okay, all right.
Busy himself too.
Commissioners have questions?
Well, I feel like we should give you a chance to correct your testimony. Okay? Do you hear me?
Yes, I will.
Would you agree
For what?
Would you agree that neither of the detectives was wearing a hood?
The other guy, one who, they goes two guys. I don't know he's with him or he's alone, but they go to, both of them together. The other one, he give me back. I don't see him his face. I told you all together. I don't
My
know.
question is, would you agree at this point that neither of the detectives was wearing a hood?
The other guy, not him.
No.
The other guy, the one.
So
asking me,
you're insisting that one of the
they got two.
detectives was wearing a hood?
The other guy, head hood.
I
not
want you to
hood.
listen to my question, and then that's the only question I have for you. Are you insisting that one of the detectives who entered the bar was wearing a hood?
The one they asking me, he don't have hood.
So one that spoke to you did not have on a hood. Was there another person?
The other was him, I don't know. He's
And are you saying that the other person was wearing a hood?
head hood, not a hair face hood.
He had hair on his face?
Head hood.
He had a head hood?
I don't know the cover here. I don't know what you cover. Hood.
A hoodie? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
In the area this bar is located, there are numerous people who wear hoods. The dress code should, in my opinion, should determine whether they go into the bar or not, because it's a commonplace. It doesn't make one person more intimidating than the next. They do have a lot of people out there. There were people wearing hats, hoods, glasses, all manner of clothing. That day, my partner and I were not wearing any hoods on our heads, specifically because bar owners have complained about us entering the location with a hood, and it sounds intimidating, but we specifically did not have that on. It's just people do wear hoods in the area.
Okay, thank you.
And masks.
Okay.
Sir, is your contention, is your argument, the reason why you didn't serve, I want to make sure I understand. You said they appeared weird. Was it more a security issue?
I was scared. I'm first time here. I don't know. I'm first year here. But I let people in. But at that time, I don't know. I feel something. I don't feel very comfortable. No?
So you didn't feel comfortable, so you didn't let them in. Do you have security that works at all at night? Okay. Have you put some thought into that? I mean, as I'm sure you have heard or will hear from Commissioner Moore, these are particularly special licenses that that are very unique, and it's an advantage to you. And I just wonder whether that might help if you, because this issue isn't likely to go away. I mean, you have to serve.
I did to everybody, sir. But that times happen. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Is there anything further? All right, on the basis of the admission of the events that occurred on March 23, 2017, as well as the materials contained in the charging documents and the testimony heard today, I would find a violation of Rule 4.20 CII on March 23, 2017. Do the commissioners concur?
I concur.
I concur.
As far as a sanction, I don't want to be terribly inconsistent, but on the other hand, I think the other party was more candid with the board than you've been this afternoon, sir. So I would impose a fine of $1,500. I'd give you 30 days to pay it, and I would suspend the license for a day.
Yeah, I thought that was changed to 3,000.
Just, if I could just address the board, this license was transferred in late 2015.
Oh, this is the first?
This is a first-time offense.
So I
And
can
since
only
this isn't a minor issue or a pub crawl issue, the maximum fine amount allowable is $500.
I understand, okay. So I'll change that to a $500 fine, 30 days, and I'll make it a 2-day suspension.
Okay. You were here for the last case.
Yeah.
And so you know how I feel about these kinds of cases. And I don't need to repeat the lecture, but you get a great business advantage by having this kind of license. And if you're afraid to serve, when you're required to serve, when you leave here, you need to think about what it is that you have in your hand. Because if you don't manage it, it's going to be taken from you.
No.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
new, I don't know about business, that's why I'm confused, you know.
Well, let me just say this about that. That's not an excuse, and that's not an explanation. You purchased a BD7 license, and you had to have understood when you made that purchase all of the responsibilities that are attendant to that purchase. And that means that when you are selling over the counter, you're selling your packaged goods, the tavern is open. Period.
Okay.
Hard stop.
I will.
Okay? It's non-negotiable.
I
They
will.
may come back. Somebody else may come back. And if you're cited again, there's not gonna be a $500 cap. You could go
I will.
high, much higher. Do you understand?
I will.
I need you to understand, because, well, anyway. So I'm gonna agree with the $500 fine and the 2-day closing, okay?
I concur, and I would add that I really encourage you to think about getting security
Okay.
because it sounds like that might help allay your concerns. But again, as Commissioner Moore has stated, this is a special license, and we expect a higher, level of responsibility.
Okay, sir.
The only other thing I'd add, because it just rankles me, is that if you're not candid with when you come in and testify, that exposes you to other problems. So, I mean, the testimony was inconsistent. Was there a hood? Was there not a hood? I won't say who I believe, but I will say that you must be truthful in these proceedings. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank
I
you.
believe tomorrow and Saturday, okay.
Tomorrow and Saturday.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that concludes our docket for today.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board is in recess until Thursday, June the 15th, 2017, 5 p.m.